ToonamiGAF. Wasting every Saturday night together. Only Toonami.
Okay, welcome to the second ToonamiGAF podcast, or I guess Andrex named it ToonamiGAF Transmission. I'm 789 Shadow, and with me today are Shard, Novid, and the Franklinator.
Also known as the Frank Man, but participator in all the sports gaps. Holla if you hear me.
Yeah, I remember you from WrestleGap back in the day.
Yeah, things
back
got...
Back when you had the kite avatar.
Yeah, things got a little bit too sports entertainment, so I just pop in during Raw and sometimes SmackDown. But
I stopped watching in 2008 because I couldn't stand the product, and I haven't been back since.
You're not missing a whole lot, I will just say that.
Yeah. Yeah,
and if you tune out of Bleach, you're also not missing a whole lot, so let's go with that.
Oh, man.
Segways!
Yes.
Okay.
Is Eisen still trolling?
Yes,
he's trolling. He's still trolling.
It's kind of hard to tell. It's mainly because this thing recaps so much. I feel like I'm watching a Mobius strip here.
How many times have I seen Barrigan die?
I've lost count.
It ceased to be important, like a few episodes ago. I don't need to see it again.
The funny thing I'm wondering is, why am I watching like tons of episodes of filler to get up to this point? Because I'm a lot of episodes behind. Why am I watching filler to get up to this point?
I have no idea. It's like the thing I find funny is Bleach has, even for a shonen show, it has so many recaps and retellings that even if you're paying attention, you have no idea what's going on.
Man, it's like, has this show ever heard of Yu Yu Hakusho? I mean, they didn't really have that. They didn't really have that much in terms of filler that I remember. I mean, then again, that was a much older show.
Well, the manga probably had much better pacing. So
yeah.
literally a volume of Bleach is a single episode.
Yeah, there's some of that going on here, but in general, it's just poor storytelling. Like, just wait until we get into the Aizen's last battle arc.
Oh God, I think at that point Kubo was just like, I want to end this now.
Well, it was more like that seemed to take forever and a day in the manga. God only knows how long the fucking anime is going to go with that.
Oh, we still got months until we get there.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had to go back and reestablish the fact that we do, in fact, have a main character who is not named Aizen.
Yeah. It's like, and Ichigo, who I thought at one time starting the show, made a cameo in his own fucking program. Like, they switched back to Ichigo, and then they switched back to Team Suck. Any team that has Renji on it is automatically horrible.
Renji and Chad, we're an invincible team.
Well, you gotta have your inspirational meat shields. You have to. The people have to watch some people fail to get that sense of despair. You can't have people winning all the time, and that's what Renji and Chad are good for. So they're an integral part of the team. Team fail.
Or they would be if we saw any of them. I mean, seriously, it's been what, 20 episodes?
Not even 20 episodes plus 9 that we watched again.
Yeah.
Well, hey, they're only there to fail. We don't need to see Renji or Chad.
And Rukia is only there to run in a testicle cave.
And of course Rukia is there too, but I don't know. Does Rukia do anything anymore?
No.
Oh,
she doesn't? Really?
She hasn't done jack shit in the entire series, basically since she fought Fishbowl Head guy.
Oh, well, Rukia is there supposed to be emotional and moral support. You know, supposed to tell Ichigo, go do this, do that. Hey, shouldn't you be fighting him? I thought she was still doing that.
Well, she's currently unconscious.
Oh.
Because she got her ass destroyed.
Oh, that's a problem.
In the manga.
Yeah, that's. I have not caught up to that. So.
She was in the same boat as Renji. Renji is now up and about. She's not. So when Renji is doing better at you than something, that's a problem.
Wow.
Yeah. Are we talking about where the manga is now?
I am talking about where the manga is now.
Oh. I haven't really been paying attention since it was revealed that Ichigo's mother was a Quincy.
Oh God.
Oh God, what?
Oh God, seriously.
Why
Apparently, we don't. This is not confirmed, but the Quincy leader simultaneously dropped hints that A, his mother might have been a Quincy, and B, the leader might actually be his father.
Oh God, this is horrible.
Oh God.
Does anyone wonder why this franchise is nearly dead in Japan?
What happens? Yeah. Didn't DBZ go through the same thing where they just forced the guy to make so many goddamn episodes, and then to the point where he's just churning out crap. He just wants to end the series, and then you get GT.
And now we're stuck in the middle of our required Kubo only writes based on popularity polls fight.
Yeah, the only reason I can figure that Bleach still brings the ratings for Toonami is because we haven't gotten to the full Bringer arc yet. You know, a.k.a. the Destroyer of Bleach.
The Destroyer of Bleach is really the stretch we're in now.
Well, actually, if you want to get down to it, it's Aizen's last battle.
Yeah, it's kind of like, that's it? He turned into a butterfly.
Yeah, the numbers really started dropping for that one. It's just the Fullbringer arc which brought it to a head.
This is kind of like, here's the Fullbringer arc. Yes, Bleach really is dead.
Yeah.
You can let go of it now.
Yes, where Bleach rips off JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see, because Bleach has been such a used to be an Adult Swim staple for years, even when it was at the 11 o'clock spot. When is that demographic going to say, you know what, F this, I've had enough?
We probably got some lapsed people coming in because of the Toonami thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's going to get a bump from Toonami, but they're not going to be really in trouble till they lose a lot of that old Adult Swim demo. And once they start losing that, then, I guess it's time to look for a new show.
That's probably one reason why, Adult Swim's been making some of the moves that they have been. I mean, the great Shonen chain they got, Bleach flows into Naruto, which is now flowing into Soul Eater, which is now flowing into Thundercats.
And it's a smart decision. Get those shows, get the action shows, get the shonen shows, and then when you start doing enough money, then you start going for the shows that maybe don't always fit. They didn't fit the Adult Swim demo, but with Toonami's popularity, they'll fit more the Toonami demo. Like I'll say that Morbido came on Toonami, I think it would have done a lot better than how it did. Although that show technically is not a type of Adult Swim show.
Yeah, Morbido was. They treated that like shit. Like it was probably one of the worst shows they ever treated.
I could say Code Geass was.
I said one of the worst. Code Geass is another one. I mean, just in 2008 in general, that's where they really stopped giving a shit about anime and what they were showing. That's when they were really fucking around with the anime they did get. And I've gotten into arguments about this, but
here we go.
They kind of stopped caring for about 4 or 5 years.
Well, I think the mistake Adult Swim did is they started getting they started listening to fans and getting a lot of shows that would have not gotten ratings for the network, but they were making money. So they said, hey, let's give it a shot. And said shows did not do well, and Adult Swim did not handle it well. And I said, you know what, let's get that out of the prime time slot. Let's throw this at 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Now you pissed off the companies, and I've seen so much of that on the Adult Swim boards and how it was handled it was handled I think poorly in terms of planning, in terms of acquiring, in terms of listening to fans. Because yes, fans can be dumb at times.
Yes, I think the thing with Mobito and back in 2008 is that I think the Adult Swim suffered the same thing every other company suffered. I think they felt like they wanted a more upbeat type of show. You see, and in the television business, you want more upbeat type of shows, whether it's somewhat of a dark upbeat show that you want to keep their interest, or you want a cheerful show or that sort of thing. Mobito is a artistic type of show, and the unfortunate thing is for that artistic type of show, it didn't really fit the artistry they wanted to see. Get it?
Yeah.
They wanted to have a different type of artistry. They were more in tune towards British type comedy than they were into Japanese type artistry at the time, 2008. And then things started to turn around between 2008 2010. But they were starting to move towards like a deadpan British comedy during that time. They still are in a way.
Yeah, and I'll note, like, before Toonami started, I think in between 2008 and 2012, they had about 3 new shows. Let's see, there was Durara, Keikashi, and I'm trying to remember the other one.
Was it Bakano?
No, that would have never. That's a good idea. They should air that, but let's see. I should know this. I watched that wasn't Brotherhood that new show?
Yeah, Brotherhood.
Yeah.
So it was a new older show based on a proven property.
Right. Well, and it looks like Brotherhood just did decently enough to the point where it's still part of the lineup.
Yeah, but Brotherhood was given that it was going to do well. I think what surprised Toonami is that Keikashi didn't do well. Because that shows basically, if you look at it, it's Inuyasha-like. And a lot of people were speculating that, okay, now that they're going to bring Keikashi, they're going to start bringing Inuyasha the final act after that. And,
We're getting some. I'm sorry. We're getting some echo over Novids.
Hold on. Give me 1 sec.
Testing.
There we go.
3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me?
Audio problems.
Oh, audio. This is probably going to come out terrible, I know it.
Well, you just learn to roll with the punches.
Yeah, you just learn to roll with the punches.
If you think this is bad, try doing this stuff live.
Just roll with the punches like Naruto.
Yes.
Oh god,
It won't
segues.
stop.
Oh, Mr. Balloon. Leave it. Oh, God. This seems to... Yeah.
So we're finally out of the, filler training flashback stuff now in Naruto. We've gotten through all that obligatory bullshit.
Yes.
And they're back to fighting Abazaba.
Zabuza?
Yeah.
What the hell is a Zabuza?
What the hell is a Zabuza?
And they're fighting Trap.
I think I would be remiss if we did not cover the beginning 5 minutes of that show where a certain character encounters a sleeping or unconscious Naruto.
So, come to the middle of the woods often?
Oh, God. Now I don't know how about you guys, but back in 2005, 2006, this is my first time seeing Naruto. I've probably seen a couple episodes, original, but this was my first time seeing it dubbed. And so I'm seeing the character, and I'm like, hey, Naruto's looking kind of embarrassed there. She's kind of cute. And, nice eyes, prettier than Sakura. and walks away at the end. And, oh, by the way, I'm a man.
Like,
Really, nothing else needs to be said.
Oh my.
Other than that picture that was posted of how they changed the flashback in Shippuden.
Staring into my soul.
Oh no.
Lipstick
Eyes.
and huge bulging Moe eyes.
Damn.
oh, yeah. Moe.
I think they kind of wanted to kind of scrub the whole "that was a boy" thing away.
I
Because that's
think
really
it's-
creepy.
Wow.
I honestly think that they just forgot that Haku was supposed to be a guy.
It's not really a big deal at all, other than that one scene where Naruto's like, "I'm not gay. I like boobs. I'm not gay. I like boobs. I'm not gay."
But a lot of us thought originally that, oh, maybe it was a girl in the original, and somehow they're changing it, but that wouldn't make sense. That edit wouldn't make sense because nothing comes up with that.
I'm just disappointed Haku hasn't given anyone the Tongan death grip yet.
Oh, good. I'm not just.
But other than that,
I think maybe we. Any more jokes about that?
no. I mean, that's literally
No.
that
Okay.
first 5 minutes is literally the entire content of of that episode.
Yeah.
It's like the middle is kind of like, and then the end. Oh, the fight's starting. Come back next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, then
Oh, boy.
climb a tree, fool Sakura, inner Sakura gets angry, Naruto falls off tree, Sasuke gets to save him. You start to see a lot of this. That theme is going to be very prevalent in this series.
Naruto shits on little bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, we need more. We need more of the Naruto abridged parody fun time hour or whatever it's called.
We need more.
Yeah.
The problem is he may not be. He just probably can't
Well,
voice
that's
all of the characters that start showing up in a few episodes. Because in a few episodes, the cast of the show kind of like multiplies by 10,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
I mean,
all of them are important, at
It's
least
not-
until the first half.
It starts off so slow. You get your core group. And it's like, hey, this is gonna be a nice little friendly show. And then all of a sudden, whole village. Here you go. So it's,
Oh, people are exploding in sand.
Yeah, I mean, shit literally gets a lot realer.
Shit gets real as shit.
Really real.
Really
Yeah.
real.
I think
And
Yeah.
and to imagine it starts off with a written test.
the Chunin exams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, aka Naruto and company go for their owls.
But how many episodes was that actual test? The written test. Wasn't it like 2 or 3?
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then the rest of the exam is like 50, or like
Well,
20, more like 25.
And you get plot twist.
25 to 35.
And human torpedoes and
And Jiraiya.
oh gosh.
Oh yes.
Let's not say too much about him. I'm sure the people are there people who haven't even seen Naruto yet? God, it's been on forever now.
Possibly. Well, you got to remember Naruto didn't really fare well when it left Cartoon Network. It got Shippuden got tied up with Disney XD, and
They decided it was too violent, so they dropped it.
Yeah. Disney is not a good fit for a violent shonen anime.
The only really Toonami is really the only good fit right now for Naruto. At
Well, there
least
was-
not completely cut.
Well, if the people at IFC had some balls, they'd go back to getting animation again because when they had a lot of pretty decent shows. But
Listen, IFC. Look. IFC is just going to their Seattle, not Midwest, the Pacific, North stuff. They're just gonna do their comedy stuff with the Seattle Pacific North hipster style thing. They're not too interested in getting back into the particular in animation industry unless you have somebody like somebody a younger basket that they can rally towards. But they're not gonna do any considerable look into animation anymore unless they get some younger dude who's like a good with the hipster crowd. That's the unfortunate thing about it.
Yeah, because I remember it was actually put in a bump. The producers, Adult Swim, they really wanted to get Basilisk, but they knew they couldn't treat it well. I mean, the show's a snuff film. The edits they'd have to make, they couldn't do it. And IFC basically showed that unedited. So yeah, that's one thing that I hope maybe you see that. Then they treated Witchblade pretty decently. And
Witchblade is part. If Witchblade, they were doing Witchblade, I think at the same time that TNT was doing Witchblade. I think they were doing it at the same exact time, or about 3 or 4 months after or before. I'm not sure which. Because if I remember correctly, they did Witchblade back in 2000, 2002. And I'm not sure if they did the animated Witchblade on IFC either 2004 or 2005, but it was sort of like in between the time that TNT had Witchblade.
Really? Huh, I don't remember. I know TNT, the actual series, they had to give that up because of some personal problems with the main character, or else that was they were making big plans for that show. But.
Yeah, I remember I sort of remember the big Witchblade push about 10 years ago. Yeah, in general, yeah, I do wish other places were still airing anime blocks. Like, I remember Tech TV's Anime Unleashed.
Yep, they did some good work. What is it? Crest. I can't remember what they have. Crest of the Stars? Yeah.
Crest of the Stars, Banner of the Stars,
Soul Taker.
Last Exile was my personal favorite. Boogie Pop Phantom, Gunfade, and I think there's some other stuff that I can't remember offhand.
I think the thing they see with the cable industry is that they treated the way the Sci-Fi Channel treated it in the 1990s, which wasn't all bad, which isn't all bad. But at times it does leave a lot of things desired because a lot of the people that were there back in the 90s in the Sci-Fi Channel, they moved on to IFC, they moved on to Tech TV, which is now going to become Esquire in a couple of months. They moved on to other things as well. So you're going to have a difficulty. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure if it was widely known, but G4 actually got back into the anime game not too long ago. Like they showed off the
Marvel series.
Yeah, Iron Man. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also had Crimson Viper on there very briefly. I think it lasted only 4 episodes. But they were starting to air that stuff again. But obviously, the change in directions killed all that.
Yeah, that definitely stunk.
Well, look, the interesting thing is that Comcast right now went all in with NBC because pretty much they're cleaning house over there. It is you should go talk to Ivy so one of these days, one of you guys are there, and he can tell you stories about what's going on in that particular network. It is an unbelievable mess over there. Unbelievable.
I don't know. I could believe it. I could believe that NBC's a mess.
Well, so it's Lorne Michaels and Ollenmeyer, I believe. They're just trying to get the money, get their shows, and do their thing.
Well, apparently Naruto didn't really have a lot to happening in it because that was a long discussion of other anime blocks.
No, I was like, okay, let's keep talking about NBC. Naruto, it's prelude to a battle. That's that episode was going by
Yeah.
memory.
Even though the episode's title says "Battle on the Bridge," there's no
Alright.
battle on the bridge, I can assure you. But there are battles in Soul Eater.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Now we come to the big prize, the premiere of Soul Eater.
Yes. Funny story. When I was blessed enough to actually have Funimation channel for about 4 months, because I finally found it was on the station, and then, of course, Verizon took it off, and because it wasn't getting up ratings, that's how I got introduced to Soul Eater and a lot of other good shows.
Yeah.
I remember looking and it's like, you know what? This might fit well on Adult Swim. It's a shame they can't get it.
Yeah, I remember thinking that when I watched the show on YouTube in 2011. That's one of the nice things about Funimation. You can easily watch one of their shows at this point. You know, they stream all over the web and all that shit.
Mm.
You know, like you know, if you want to watch Soul Eater, you can watch it subbed. You know, in a lot of places, but Soul Eater is going to be interesting. You know, mainly because it's definitely a better show than Bleach or you know, Samurai 7. But
I would say Naruto probably too.
Really?
I can't speak to Naruto yet because I did not watch that back in the day. But you know, people assure me it's going to get good.
It does. I just don't know. I don't know if it gets that good.
No,
I think it's really good. I mean, in terms of the demo that Toonami wants, it'll bring people in. I think it'll get real good.
well,
So how do you think Soul Eater's gonna do on that front?
You might have to wait a bit, but it should do very well in terms of how things get real. There's more character development, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean,
Soul Eater stylistically is very shonen. People just might be put off by the art style. You know, the art style is very exaggerated.
It's a One Piece situation.
Yeah, you know, it's like that fucking sun and that fucking moon. I want to destroy them.
yeah, I was like, what the hell is the sun laughing? What's up with that?
I love the
I
sun
don't
and the
know.
moon.
It's like this is never answered, and I want to know why the sun and the moon are laughing. Why do they have faces? Why does nobody notice this?
I mean, at least some things will get answered later on in the series, like why that looks like how it looks. At least that gets answered. The mask bothered me. I'm nitpicking.
So, the episode is the introduction to our first of three groups of main characters.
Thereabouts. You know, there's Soul and Maka, your protagonists. There's Black Star and Tsubaki, and there's Death Jr. and the Thompson twins.
And because they start off in the episode one step away from their ultimate goal in the series, naturally they have to fail and be brought back to square one.
Basically, you know, and of course, and you also get introduced to Death Sight. Just stick with that for right now. That's not his real name, but
So I'm kind of confused at this point. Are the weapons human or are they not?
they are people, but they're also weapons.
And there's also just regular people who wield them.
Yeah.
Yes.
But are they like mainly weapons? I think that's what people have to find out. Or like, are they both sides of the same coin, so to speak?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of weird. Like you see some of the characters, they just start eating souls and stuff. It's like, oh, so they're not human. Like, are they really weapons or stuff? But
Maybe it's like
I never got that
determined.
answer.
It's kind of like when they come into the academy that we hear about. It's kind of like, here's a sorting hat. You're a Meister. You're a weapon.
I'm
Wow, really?
yeah. Well, it's not genetic because, like, Maka's father is a weapon, but she is not. She is a human. You know, it's like I want to say that they eventually explain this, but I honestly can't remember.
Yeah, and this is one of the few episodes I didn't watch. I got interested like around the second or third episode, so I missed this one.
I guess it's kind of like magic. This person can now become a weapon and eat souls.
Yeah. Well, this was all about world building and establishing the characters, and also having wacky hijinks.
Along with forced dialogue. You know, anytime somebody says "as you know,"
Yeah, it's like, as you know, that means it's clunky exposition.
as you know, expert in this field, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's like, if you say as you know, if they know, you don't have to fucking explain it to them.
I mean, like you could at least have like maybe the expert is teaching a class, so it makes sense that way they would be like, oh, by the way, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, you guys who have seen this episode, I mean, what did you think of it? It was a pretty good introduction to what people will see in the series later.
Kind of, sort of, but this episode is much more comedic than the series gets later on. Like, the Soul Eater gets pretty heavy later on. Not just in terms of action, but in terms of its themes.
Is this like a standard arc-based shonen?
Yes, it's pretty arc-based. You know, it's just at a certain point. Well, in my estimation, Soul Eater falls apart near the end, mainly because this is based off of a manga, and it did that thing where it overtook the manga, and at a certain point,
It made its own ending, like the original FMA.
Yes.
So we're gonna get a Brotherhood that rushes through the parts that the original one is already covered, and then the last part is gonna be amazing.
It's possible. Or see also Hellsing. I've been watching a lot of that lately.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's like, God. The first series has about one of the worst. We deviated from the manga endings I've ever fucking seen. I'm like, what the hell was that?
The first one had a lot of issues, story and plot aside. I wasn't a fan of the actual animation side. It looked cheap, but again, that's no nitpicking.
Well, it looked cheap because it was Gonzo. Gonzo's a pretty horrible studio. Remember, these are the guys who gave us Samurai 7.
Poorly animated worm people.
Oh boy. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could have said. I wish I could say something good about Samurai 7. I had.
We had a lot of fun saying "sold my wife" in any situation, especially those that were not appropriate.
I just want to say that right now. He did not sell his wife. He gave his wife for the good of the village. Who here wouldn't do that?
No one?
Man, you guys suck.
Yeah, but I wasn't a fan of Samurai 7, well, not only because it's a horror show, but I have the original movie in my collection. And, you know, Samurai 7 was at its best when it was copying from the movie. But, you know, that was kind of one of the fundamental problems with Samurai 7. It's like, when it followed the source material, it was decent, but pointless. Because you've already got that. And when it did its own thing, well, we got shit like Sold My Wife and that whole clone emperor thing.
Emperors in jars.
Yeah, it's like, you know, this series could not tell its own story well at all. You know, at the end of the day, I'm like, just go watch the movie, or go watch A Bug's Life. You know, that's
going back to the show that's currently on Toonami.
Yeah.
What do we think of the two main characters we've been introduced to so far?
Soul and Maka.
Yes.
Let's see. Trying not to. It's like
There's not much there, so as of yet.
Yeah,
Well,
you don't see how headstrong and tough Maka is until.
Maka
Yeah,
currently has daddy issues.
Yes.
I think.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like, I'd have to talk more about this once we know more about these characters, because a lot of what I have to say is stuff that happens later on in the series.
Yeah.
I kind of like the design of. I think it's either Soul or Maka. His teeth remind me of one of the Sandman's bad guys. Actually.
It's probably Soul because he has the crazy teeth.
Yeah, the one with the crazy teeth. He reminds me of the one with the teeth. He was Death's. No, not Death's. What was the other guy's main rival? I know Death was a woman. The Sandman. But what was the other one? Dream's main rival. What is it? Dang.
Not coming to me.
Nope.
Drawing a blank.
I mean, I guess we've only had one episode of mostly setup and fighting, so we don't have time to establish really characters.
Yeah, one thing that surprised me was just how much fan service was left in, because it was edited.
You mean which boobs?
Yeah, Blair. It's like, because I do remember her being naked in the uncut version.
Huh? She's a witch named Blair.
Witch Project?
And yes, they're going. Yeah, and yes, they are going for the Blair Witch reference. They weren't very creative with that.
Yeah, well, her character. I'm trying not to foreshadow that, but her character gets into a lot of that kind of stuff. For what I've seen.
You mean
That's
fan service?
It's not like a ton of it, but yeah, her character does a lot of that.
So she's a pair of boobs who exists to stick in others' faces for comedy.
That's about all she. I will say that's about all she does.
Cool. And Soul, at this point, all we know about Soul is that he's a weapon and he's the tough guy who can't stand naked women.
And he's got weird teeth.
I also noted how they cut the intro sequence, because they cut out pretty much the entire middle part, especially cutting out all the characters who haven't been introduced yet.
Which is what you're supposed to do. Hello, Bleach. Man.
Why didn't... This is something that just come up this morning because for some reason, this... Okay, I'm not going to... Bleach, we were discussing how openings weren't being cut, and Bleach was one that wasn't being cut for some reason.
Because the fans wanted it. The fans forever had screamed back on Adult Swim. They had screamed, we want full opens and full endings. And so Adult Swim finally said, because that was one of their big premieres back in the day, we're going to do that for you.
And so that went out the window with Toonami?
Well, Toonami in the past, they didn't really...
Because Toonami Toonami needs the commercials more.
Yeah, I mean, I figured they need revenue, and back then, remember there were a few shows back then. Well, I guess that would be the 5 to 7 Toonami, where the intros were just the Toonami intros, and they didn't show like the original show intro. And I'm a little bit surprised they're actually, for some of the shows, they're doing both.
I actually wonder for Bleach why they can't just cut the recaps.
Oh, then there wouldn't be any show if you can't cut the recaps. You need the recaps. That's Bleach. Oh.
I mean, cut the recaps, put in the full open, and you still have more time for commercials.
What are you gonna do? You're just gonna show Ichigo shouting and like Renji getting his butt kicked?
But no, we need to see Barrigan explode a billionth time.
Oh, they probably thought, this will never get old. Oh, it's gotten old.
It's gotten so... They said that with Bleach. Bleach will never get old.
I think it's awesome we're talking about Soul Eater, maybe in like recaps just to avoid the next show.
So, yeah, and at the end of Soul Eater, people suddenly were like, yay or nay to the appearance of Black Star.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have opinions on Black Star.
Apparently, everybody has an opinion on Black
Yeah.
Star.
Black Star is kind of like John Cena.
Oh,
He's very polarizing.
I did notice he has like Soul has an overly manly voice. Black Star has a super girly one.
Oh, I'm
Really?
waiting.
It's girly? It's just very raspy. Like almost. I think it's not bad. It's just a very kitty, raspy image. Sure.
It's just with the design of the character, and like he looks badass in the intro, and then that voice doesn't fit.
Yeah, I guess. It just grew on me. I felt, and I just looked at him as an immature punk. That's who he is.
And then his weapon is a girl
Yeah.
who doesn't like wearing back covering clothing.
Well, ninja or wait, Shinobi. What was she again? Shinobi.
Some.
I forgot her. Did they give her an introduction?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm early then.
Also, Al Capone eats souls.
I had forgotten about that.
Really?
So they're like saying that Al Capone is worth like 100 souls, right? So clearly they're going to fail too. Otherwise,
Including the devoured souls, they were saying there were about 100 souls here, and well, hell, it doesn't really matter because spoiler alert, he fails.
spoilers, he fails because he can't succeed at the entire plot of the show in the first episode.
Yeah, yeah, basically, it's like nobody's really going to succeed in their goals the first time out because
I kind of wonder why they didn't start them all off not having almost completed their goal.
Well, I could not tell you. I guess they figured that was just the best way to do the character introduction.
They didn't want to start with less badass characters. They said wanted to start with more badass characters. Just they have to start all over again, still badass.
Oh, I am looking forward to the reactions a couple episodes down the line.
Like Excalibur?
A certain kid who wears a suit. Talking about Death Junior.
Yeah, it's like Death Jr., Excalibur, Dr. Frankenstein.
I have no idea what's going to happen, so. I do know what's going to happen in Thundercats, though.
Oh, God.
And it's going to be glorious!
Oh, God.
I'm already seeing yeah, it's like, I actually caught the first run of Thundercats.
I caught 2 episodes and quit. I'm sorry. I'm the biggest Thundercats fan back in the day. I don't mind change, but the stuff I saw was too much. It is too much.
Thundercats for me, I honestly don't think it's that bad of a series in parts. It's just they made a lot of the wrong moves, and I'm not one of those people who thinks that the original series was really all that good because, I'll be honest, a lot of 80s animation doesn't hold up. Thundercats can kind of be enjoyed for its cheesiness or whatever, but it's not something I would call good. It's not something that really holds up to the standards of even in the 90s.
It's got a fan base because it was on Toonami in the original run.
Right.
True.
And
Well,
sort of
it's none of those shows
and
that
like
has
cheesy
been-
classic stuff like, ho, ho, ho.
Well, it's the whole a lot of the teamwork thing, the personal development of Lino growing up.
As opposed to this one
Twice.
where he stays the same the entire time.
Yeah. They didn't do that cryogenic sleep thing like they did in the but that's fine. Of
It's
course
like-
they make Lino son of a bitch in this episode.
Like, no character development is one thing, but a basic failure to stop repeating the exact same mistakes every episode is another thing.
Yeah,
That's because the writers didn't really communicate with each other, and I don't know why. I mean, you can't be having the president of Warner Brothers Television, Mr. Tim Roth, come to your office 3, 4, 5 times a day on this particular series, and you and none of you people are not communicating like this is a live action series. I mean, take Friends for example. Everybody communicating like this is important and this sort of thing. When they had their Tumblr blog, I see a few pictures, I see a few talks, make everybody comment, whatnot. But I don't see the writers coming in and talking about what they want to write and what they want to do. I mean, and that's where everything keeps falling apart,
Yeah, yeah. It's like I had somebody on Twitter tell me that the. Oh,
Getting a little echo.
yeah. Anyway, I had somebody on Twitter tell me that the whole Tigra Chitara thing just came out of nowhere because one of the writers liked the idea and was a big fan of Tigra.
He was just standing there with a troll face.
Are you kidding me? Is this like WWE creator writing here? It's a spy of the moment. Oh, let's see if it sticks. Come on.
Hey, this is a great idea to wear. This is a great idea to wear these manacles. Hope nobody's inspecting the line. Oops. My plan worked too well.
Yeah, it's like I will say I appreciate that they reached really back into the original Thundercats to dig some things out because I remember Ritaro. I remember the sort of Sundar from the original show.
I kind of liked I kind of liked Ritaro and his voice too.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who did Ritaro's voice.
A lot of the actors, like, those different type of voice actors, a lot of them were the 50s and 60s, so I'm pretty sure that guy may not be with us anymore. I need just double check.
No. I mean the last night's episodes.
Oh, you mean okay.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, I don't even remember checking the credits for when I used to watch it, so I'll have to double check that.
But Dark Tidings are ahead. I've been trying to warn people about this because we're about to hit the lowest point of the show. We're about to hit the...
You mean the highest point of the show?
No, we're about to hit the lowest...
Show's gonna end?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
No, the lowest point of the show, the Thunder Kittens two-parter.
Oh, God.
Really?
Wait, did we just have a one-part episode and the next part is the Thunder Kittens two-parter?
It's two-parter. It's just, note how the Thunder Kittens aren't there? They have their own two-parter to go through.
They're, like, concurrent to this current one.
Yeah, it's going on at the same time. While they're doing, the main team are doing this, the Thunder Kittens are faffing about with that stupid fucking raccoon. Tom Nook's cousin.
Tom Nook's less criminal cousin.
Yeah.
So basically it's kind of like, hey, remember how we didn't tell you the Thunder Kittens disappeared? Here's what they're fucking doing.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, pretty much. And it's basically, it's a two-parter to explain how they got one thing. And of course, it being the Thunder Kittens, and Snarf, it's really fucking tedious.
Oh my god. Well, at least it's not as tedious as dealing with the horrible, horrible adults.
That's debatable. Because at least I'm getting some joy out of these screwed up relationships going on. Everyone who's watched the show is going, take notes. Because, just take note of what they're doing with Humaira and Lionel right now.
Oh, I know what's coming.
Yeah, I know it's coming too, and this is, it's why what's going to happen is, it's like I really don't want to say anymore.
I told Andrex last week that I need a short YouTube clip of that Mad parody where, Troll Rod turns around and he's going like, problem to that one tune. I need that. Just a clip of that.
Yeah.
And just post it over and over and over again.
It is also interesting to watch that even though people are trying not to get invested, they're getting invested in this shit. It's like, they actually did a really good job in, until, well, like the Chitara Lion-O build up. That was actually pretty good, and then they went into a completely different direction and killed everything.
Literally out of the blue.
Yeah, it's like
They're just like, this is a good twist because it throws out every single thing we've been building up the entire series.
I know it's a good build up because people were pissed off when this shit happened. It's like if people didn't care, there would have been no reaction.
That's true.
It's like, so, and that's kind of at the heart of my frustrations with this Thundercats is it had a lot of potential and it just squandered it with very questionable writing choices. And also,
as like I said last week, they're not. You have these writers that are not hungry. You have Michael Jelentry, who is a comedic writer. The comedic writers don't always do action well that well. You have Jamatis, who was a Disney writer who wrote episode 4, and he should have been one of the main writers of the series. You have Peter Lawrence coming back for the episode with the paper, the Read and Die remake, if I want to say.
Oh God,
he came back for that episode, and you had the younger writer who was doing a comic book who will do a future episode. We'll get to that when we get there. But given all that fact, okay, it's that you had the lead writer, Michael Jelentry, and he's not hungry. You had the lead designer who's not hungry, okay? You got to, with this particular series, when you know it wasn't that strong of a toy franchise in the 1980s, there were much stronger toy franchises in the 1980s.
Giant robots.
Huh?
Giant robots.
Those are? Yeah.
Transformers, G.I. Joe.
Yeah. It wasn't that strong of a toy franchise. Knowing that you have to be hungry, really hungry. I mean, to get there and to make that type of writing stick. And Michael Jelentry is going, Michael and Daniel are going like, this is my dream. We're going to do this whole thing like we take this series and do what it. No, you can't do that. Especially when these days people are scared to even write these types of stories on an action series. Unless it is Marvel or DC.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else doesn't have a great toy line?
What?
Symbiotic Titan.
Yes!
They're not the only ones. Believe me, I could talk for hours about how Cartoon Network has screwed up some really good series. And Symbiotic Titan is one of them. It's like, I'm on it. I'll be honest, I really never bought the whole toy line excuse.
I am 100% convinced now that for kids is the reason it's gone.
Really? How do you think that's possible?
Well, because it's just so blatant now. He's just kind of coming up to CN and saying, I dare you to take this off the air. And they did.
I can't buy it because this series, I mean, you sometimes you get shows where it's kind of hard to get a lot of toys out of, or maybe you make the characters are toys, that's it. There's toys all over the show. The monsters are toys. The Titan is a toy.
The hammer! The hammer! The freaking hammer! You can't touch this! It's the hammer! Make 50 toys of the hammer.
Yeah.
With a removable General Steel.
Yeah, this is a very toyetic series.
It would not be the first time that Gendy had to leave a show to do something else.
Yeah, it's like I find it very. I think it was a personal falling out with Genny and one of the people over at Cartoon Network. I'm not sure which one, but You know, it's like
this was before DeMarco came as the marketing vice president. This was before he came in as vice president of marketing. But I think it was I think it was the main president. I think it was Lazo and Turner Skin, and they just couldn't deal with him anymore.
I don't think it was Lazo. Lazo seems to be more Adult Swim these days. I think it was Harry Scorcher.
Harry Scorcher is a problem. Harry Scorcher is a goddamn problem. He's a goddamn problem. He is, listen, he's one of Turner Kent's boys. He should be working on the NBA on TNT and not the Cartoon Network. He should be working with Jeff Zucker at CNN. He shouldn't be working at the Cartoon Network. His type of thing with cutting all this in. Let me tell you something about him.
Go ahead.
Take a look at him and Mattel. Let me tell you something, okay? He made a deal with Mattel, okay, in order to get these toys for the Cartoon Network and whatnot. Mattel don't care. Mattel can live on Barbie dolls and Hot Wheels forever. They don't care. They never cared.
It also didn't help.
Why would you even have a toy deal with Mattel?
It also didn't help that
have a toy deal with Mattel. Do you know what they did to Bratz with MGA? They destroyed them. No one should deal with them.
It also didn't. I'm sorry, but it also didn't help that around the time Symbionic was coming out, and they were like, let's see who we can find some toys. Recession happened.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. But it wasn't. Symbionic Titan's not that old. We are talking about 2010, 2011. You know, it's a couple of years after the Great Crunch.
It was still in a significant downtime though.
That's true. But the thing is, Adventure Time has a toy deal, but it's not a strong toy deal, and we're not sure how many. You see, there used to be a time back in the 90s. When I was younger, I could find out which toy sold well. I can't do that anymore. I can't. I look through all the websites of all the toys that came out and all that. I can't find a damn thing. What sells well with boys? What sells well with girls? What sells well with older children and all that? I can't find anything.
I'll take two guesses. Girls as Barbie dolls, boys as Hot Wheels.
The last time I looked at the rankings, it was either 4 or 5. It was 4 or 5. 4 Barbie, number 4 Barbie overall, number 5 Hot Wheels overall.
So it was number 1.
The highest selling toy, the last time I know, was Ben 10's Morpher.
Oh God, damn it!
Yes, for Ben 10, the Morpher.
So that's why Ben 10 is never gonna die, because it prints money.
No, Ben 10 will continue to sell, and Bandai does 4-inch toys that sell at $3 to $7 a pop, and they just keep selling those toys, and they keep making money off of it. So that funds the whole thing for that particular franchise.
Because by the nature of Ben 10. They can just make up toys. They can just make up new aliens for them to transform into out of thin air. New toys.
The thing is, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think a bad economy can really be blamed for the failure of Symbionic Titan, because Cartoon Network is having trouble selling Green Lantern, selling Young Justice action figures, DC superheroes. And it's getting to the point I think that they're going to be incompetent enough to screw up Beware the Batman.
It may just be that...
It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. It's dead. I don't want... No one should say that it's dead. It's dead. The only reason it might even sell a little bit is because of the Batman name, but as a show, it's dead. It's dead. Listen, they only have one show. The Cartoon Network only has one show now. That Clone Wars has gone to Disney. They only have one show. They have Adventure Time. They don't have anything else.
They have regular show, but that's not a
They
toy.
have regular show, but regular show it's iffy at best. Let's say they have two shows, regular show and Adventure Time. Do they have anything else to stand on? No. And
Jack,
anything
they have
else.
jack shit.
There is one other show that they do have.
Yeah.
They have Johnny Test.
Oh, fucking shit.
Oh yes.
Woo!
I do like to remind people every week that Symbiotic Titan is dead. Johnny Test still gets new episodes.
100th episode of Johnny Test. It's probably because it has something to do with Johnny Test. Takes like $5 an episode to make.
Well, that's one. And Johnny Test is one of the few shows that's still out there today that survived the original Saturday Morning Wars. I mean, that show was on Saturday morning for at least 4 years. It had its ending series. Then it decided, hey, Cartoon, okay, we're a little bit light on shows. Let's bring Johnny Test back.
I remember watching it when it first came on.
Yeah.
When I still watched Saturday morning cartoons before I was like, this sucks.
Well,
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of competition back then. It was pretty much for kids when they were on CW then.
Yeah.
But it still gets a lot of press. I mean, it's simplistic plot, but it still gets a lot of press.
It's Dexter's Lab in reverse.
Yeah.
That's true.
There is now two DDs, and they're the smart, intelligent ones. And Dexter is now the stupid one, and his name is Johnny Test. But he still solves every problem.
If you remember the episode where Dexter made a talking pill and he had a dog that talked and got to talk, the dog looks very similar to how Dookie was designed right now. I mean, it's basically they're just taking everything.
Oh, I forgot about Dookie.
Yeah.
God, what a horrible monster.
We could spend time talking about.
And Johnny Test's parents are the parents from Dexter's Lab.
Oh yeah.
They look almost exactly the same.
Well, the mother is the clean freak, and here the dad is the clean freak. Where the dad used to kind of like go out and do stuff. Now the mother's this businesswoman. Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of took Dexter's Lab and switched it up a bit and made it look terrible.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's not. I thought that at least it was better than when Chris Savino became producer of Dexter, and then suddenly the animation changed radically.
We just need Action Hank to beat up Johnny Test.
Oh, I would actually watch that episode.
So, what do we think of the actual episode of Symbionic Titan?
Heartbreaking.
Oh,
No.
on so many levels, it's heartbreaking.
No, you're gonna bring them tears in my eyes, man. No.
We've got the fact that it's not going to be there anymore. We've got the fact that, yay, Octus is alive and he's Jesus. And we know that we're never going to get an explanation of the mysterious G3 head, who, spoilers, is almost certainly Lance's dad.
Yeah, it's like,
Knows how to, if he can bring back Octus, he's got to be Galilean, because he has to have such good knowledge of Galilean tech.
Yeah,
and Lance's dad disappeared through a portal. Boom, there you go.
It's like getting invested into Samurai Jack all over again, except worse, because this didn't have time to get off the ground.
This doesn't have a really, even Samurai Jack still has the phantom of possibility of the movie. This has nothing.
The Samurai Jack's ending, I partially blame on Genny Tartakovsky for not having any sense of progression. It's like for not having any sense of, oh, this show is ending. Maybe we should move towards Endgame, because the Endgame hinted at Samurai Jack looked a long way off, and it was like in its fourth season, 50 episodes in already. But Symbiotic Titan barely got one season.
Well, to me, that makes me think that maybe he didn't have the foresight to do that, but B, maybe he wants to come back. I mean, he did his Hotel Transylvania, whatever you think was that movie.
I saw a video of him at the last Comic-Con, and he said he's totally on board with doing more Symbiotic Titan.
The problem is this like who's gonna air it.
Right.
I don't think the ratings on Toonami were good enough to make more Titan.
Well, no. If
Team,
Titan's gonna come back,
somebody mentioned a good idea though, that the best path forward for Symbionic Titan might be like a webcomic or something.
I don't.
I don't.
At least Symbionic Titan has a clear path to come back.
Yeah.
Say Megas XLR or IGPX,
which can't be aired, which legally they cannot air. It is illegal for Toonami to have Megas XLR and IGPX.
Oh.
They will be arrested.
So, maybe not.
Yeah, that was very sad. I just want to recap. That is very sad about what happened to IGPX. They spent years developing that, changed the product at least 2 or 3 different times, and then they finally get in and air it on the Saturday adults. So what is it? Saturday Adult Swim, was it? Or Saturday Tsunami? Yeah. Saturday Tsunami, and then it like had good music, Ninja Tune, and it did kind of like nothing.
Yeah,
that was very unfortunate.
The first season seemed to do well. It's the second season that got screwed over. Like they stopped promoting it. They started mucking about with the time slot, and it kind of died. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was their boy. That was Akins DeMarco. Like, what was going on there? Why are you messing up with this series? I think they got bored or something. Something happened.
Probably it was probably also the changing times, because when did IGPX come out?
The old one or the new one? The newer one. Because the newer one, I believe, was like 2006. I remember writing a piece about that, and I think it lasted about a year. I think it was the second year is when things started getting weird with the series.
Yeah, that kind of coincides with the degradation of Cartoon Network as a whole. I mean, Toonami at that point was, if you're not Naruto, we don't give a fuck about you.
That was true.
And then they lived by Naruto. They lived by Naruto, and they died by Naruto.
By Naruto.
Because once Naruto was kind of like, people were like, oh my god, there is no more canon Naruto ever again. We're gonna stop watching Naruto. By that time, that was all they had, and it went down with Naruto.
The real reason Toonami died wasn't because of Naruto. It was because they had nothing else but Naruto. Can you remember another show that aired in, say, Toonami 2007 or 2008 besides Naruto?
Which Toonami? The Saturday Toonami?
Yeah, 4.0.
Okay. Well, I remember a lot of shows. The problem is they weren't good. I remember Mar. I remember Gimp Prince of Tennis.
Yeah, Blue Dragon. It's like
Bobo, whatever.
Yeah.
That was Enkin's favorite show, actually.
It's like, I'm not even going to pretend I can pronounce that correctly, but I think the other thing they had at that point was One Piece, and unfortunately, One Piece has never gotten away from the shadow of 4Kids. The 4Kids dub of One Piece did so much damage to One Piece.
I still kind of disagree with that, unfortunately.
Yeah, kind of.
I will I am a huge fan of One Piece. And up until 2 years ago, I don't know when I decided to sit down and read through One Piece after I had read through Naruto and Bleach, but I still thought, oh, this is gonna be that shitty 4Kids shit.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like,
but thank you, TV Tropes, because after going through the page, I was like, this could actually be good, and it was.
Yeah, actual One Piece is actually really pretty decent. But I'm talking about, it's the perception of One Piece. Yeah. People still think of it as that shitty 4Kids show.
You've got 4Kids. You've got I'm Gonna Be King of the Pirates, which you've got the.
I remember when they had when 4Kids had One Piece, and Alcon mentioned that he was trying to get the fame of Pirates of the Caribbean, and I remember that call that he did. And so one of the reasons why he brought One Piece is because he felt as though that Pirates was going to become the big thing, and it was. So he wanted One Piece to go and ride the wave of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie franchise. He wanted to ride the wave of the same thing, and realizing how popular it was in Japan, he wanted to get that same popularity.
And then they had no idea what they were getting into.
Which was because the senior vice president of internet promotion spoke with ANN about 2.5 years after they lost One Piece, and they explained to it. I think the two main webmasters there gave him a hounding. I believe that Mr. Kirk was able to successfully navigate through their BS, which I thought it was a BS interview, pretty much. Because everybody knew that we're going to hit One Piece and that was it. We're going to attack them. We're going to be the attack dogs. We're going to be kings and whatnot. That's not how you conduct an interview. Let's be there. But as far as Mr. Kirk was concerned, I thought that the thing with the history of Four Kings and what he felt trapped, and what they had really in store, and what they had really was that when they figured out what type of series they had absolutely no choice. They were trapped because first off, they had the Australian company. They said they couldn't when Four Kids had the worldwide release of it. They said they couldn't edit it. Then you have attacks against. They had problems with Fox because Fox was already pissed off with the decapitation episode of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and one of their BSNP people from Fox got fired. And then all these other things, and it just became an avalanche against them. And another thing that became an avalanche, and nobody noticed about it then, Rupert Murdoch was one of the people who were pirating One Piece, or at least his servers when he owned MySpace. Some of those servers that were used in MySpace were actually used in pirating One Piece. So he was undercutting using his servers, he was undercutting Four Kids, unfortunately. And then you had Crunchyroll and the whole BS with that. One day the truth will come out about this whole thing, and people will be surprised about Four Kids wasn't necessary. Four Kids should have done a lot better, but they were under pressure by so many different areas that you have a small company and you can't take, and you have all this pressure coming from all different directions. The best thing you can do is cut your losses and move on. That's what I feel about One Piece. That's what it is.
That's not even, yeah. And another thing from that fallout was, Toei was so pissed off at the cuts done to One Piece that they took away all their licenses. That stuff like Ultimate Muscle, which actually did well for.
It did extremely well, in fact.
What was that?
It did extremely well, in fact.
Yeah.
Ultimate Muscle. Yeah.
You mean the Muso games?
Yeah. Not the Muso game. Not the television series.
Oh,
Man. Yeah, hell, it did. Ultimate Muscle did so well for 4Kids. They ordered another season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they also lost like Ultraman Tiga and all that stuff. Might have been like the beginning of the end of 4Kids there on some level. But well, anyway, yeah. As far as One Piece with modern Toonami goes, I think they could get it because, well, right now One Piece is airing on Neon Alley.
It is?
It is. Like, new episodes premiere on the Neon Alley.
New episodes of the dub or the sub?
The dub.
How does that work? Because they're not... The dub goes really, really slow.
They're not... Well, you're never going to have, like, subtitled anime on... Like on Cartoon Network or anything like that.
I know, but do they release new episode, like not new episodes that have just been dubbed, but...
No, I don't think they do the simulcast thing. Yeah, that's like Crunchyroll or whoever does that. But a lot of people want Toonami to pick up One Piece. It's like there are a couple of questions I have with that. It's like, okay, first of all, where do you start? If they're starting at the beginning, I say, like, if they go do the Naruto route and go back to the beginning, I say nay.
But if you start at the beginning, you have hundreds of episodes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think the best thing would be 2 episodes a week. Is a great pace.
It's not going to happen unless unless the the new comedy channel from FX, Fox's new comedy cable channel starts, and they take away Family Guy, American Dad, Cleveland Show away from Adult Swim, from the 9 o'clock spot, and then open up those types of spots for Toonami.
I don't think they necessarily have to expand the block, but they could. I think all they have to do is, decrease the rerun part. Like when Full Metal Alchemist is over, it's like, okay, enough of that. Let's make room for at least 1 episode of One Piece, and then it's like, do we really need 2 episodes of Cowboy Bebop or 2 episodes of Inuyasha?
Yeah, that's the thing.
And that sucker at 4 o'clock. I mean, that sucker at 5 o'clock. Going to normal programming, which they used to do. They didn't used to have it go up till 6. So just end the programming night at 5 o'clock. Of course, you need shows that could actually compete at the 11 o'clock hour. They haven't. I mean, in the last show that they did, that was Bleach, and I don't know if they want to go that route.
I don't think One Piece could not compete. One Piece would have to be led into by at least Bleach and Naruto.
Yeah, it's like, the unfortunate fact of the matter is, while One Piece is probably the biggest of the big 3 over in Japan, it never really took over here for a variety of reasons.
And the problem with that is that if you have to lead in with those shows, you have to put Bleach in the 2 episodes of One Piece in the middle of everything else.
Yeah,
it's true.
I mean, I would absolutely say, I guess you'd have to lead it off with Bleach, Naruto, Soul Eater, to an hour of One Piece, and then every random show after that.
Basically, at this point, I think Cartoon Network shouldn't get One Piece, because I don't think they don't have the resources to be able to handle it.
No.
Or if they do, they're going to have to start where it is right now, or somewhere, because nobody's going to sit through all of One Piece.
And if they they have to sit through all of One Piece, because they can't start where it is right now, because every fucking thing, the billions of things that happen in the first part are all so fucking important.
Yeah.
The other question is, the other earlier episodes, have they been redubbed already?
The whole series has been dubbed by
I believe most of them have been redubbed from the.
Okay.
The whole series has been dubbed by Funimation, redubbed. Everything from the beginning to we're in the middle of Water 7.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of episodes. So that's fine. That's good. That's good. But they gotta wait for some episodes from some shows to end. And if I remember the list. Won't they be, there's going to be one, what's the next show to end? When is that going to be, May?
Thundercats, in March.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the next shows set to end are Thundercats, but I don't think Thundercats is disappearing, because it's one of those shows that, because it's Warner Brothers, they have easy access to.
Okay.
So we're just going to have to deal with Thundercats again.
Damn it.
Yeah.
You see, this is what I'm getting scared, is that they're just kind of getting to this, oh, well, we can't let this show go just yet, and they become reruns.
Uh-huh.
That's true.
Reruns is what killed them the first time.
That's true.
You have to let shows go. You have to say, Thundercats is done. It's gone. Let's get a new show.
I mean, you milked the ratings out of it. You guys did a good job, brought it back. It actually got ratings, okay, now it's time for it to move on. Unless you're going to be ordering new episodes of this, try to take property and make it another big old season 2, which I'm not sure you want to have Thundercats to show you want to do that with. If you want to do that with Symbiotic Titan.
That's true.
Get into bed with Gandhi, and let's get a season 2 on that.
Holy crap, Adam, Char just dropped out.
busy.
It's like, where did he go? He's not even on my list.
I'm seeing him. It says busy, and it's like a phone. It's like it's processing. It looks like. I have no idea what this is.
I don't know what just happened.
Yeah, he's showing up on mine.
I'm clicking on add to call, and I can't add him.
Ooh,
He's not even there in the list. I mean, even the people who aren't online or haven't even I haven't even accepted my contact request, I can add them to call, but I can't add him.
No, it's that way. Make me think his computer went off.
Maybe his internet. Oh, there we go.
Ah, there he is.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, sorry, my internet dropped there for a second. Stupid wireless thing.
So we were discussing about how Toonami is getting into dangerous territory with this not cycling out shows.
Yeah.
Well, I have less of a problem with it if these shows eventually move to the back end.
Yeah, but there's nowhere to move them now. The entire back end is now rerun.
Well, what I'm saying is, cycle out those Cowboy Bebop episodes.
Well, they're never going to do that. For some reason, they're too attached to those Cowboy Bebop episodes.
Oh, sentimental value.
Well, there's a simple reason. It's because they still do great ratings. Hell, just 2 weeks ago they outdrew GXP and Eureka 7.
But I mean, they still do great ratings, but what if everything before it is kind of like, people are like, I've seen all this crap again. I'm not going to stay up for Cowboy Bebop.
I mean, they have literally reran Cowboy Bebop. I remember recording it on VHS back in 1999, 2000. They've literally rerun that series over 40 times.
I mean, people went on the Tumblr and were like, you guys need to stop doing Cowboy Bebop, and they're like, no. They just don't want to listen to the fact that Cowboy Bebop needs to end.
Also, I don't know, maybe it's a lot of the reruns are the links they have to Adult Swim, and they're cheap, and they want to keep the memory of Adult Swim alive, because that's a lot of the demographic they're still working with right now. But as long as you still have access to the show, they don't want to get rid of it. I mean,
if Thundercats recycles, it's gonna be just the 3 shonens at the beginning that are really doing newish.
I don't think Thundercats is going to stick around at 130 or whatever if it cycles in again.
But where are they going to bump it to? Are they going to bump Eureka 7 up to be the 4th show?
Possible.
Look, they have a new series of the Eureka franchise they can go through if they're going to get it or not. So I think that particularly, they could bump up 7. They could bump up Eureka 7.
But they are probably not going to bump up ratings death GXP.
No.
GXP was a mistake.
That will always be the read-in between the new stuff, GXP, classic reruns that everybody watches anyway.
Yeah.
We were just kind of like, well, time to make a sandwich.
It's like a women's divas matches on. It's time for a sandwich break,
I guess it just remains to be seen.
I hope they do get a new show to replace Thundercats immediately, because otherwise you're getting to the point where your show is too rerun.
I mean, they have spots. I mean, you don't need 2 episodes of Cowboy Bebop, so that's a free spot right there.
But they're too attached to Cowboy Bebop for some reason.
Yeah, but they can still cut it back to 1.
Yeah.
I don't think they will.
I
mean, why would you take... I mean, as you said, it gets fantastic ratings, which you might... Okay, I guess they do have a good reason to be attached to it, but I don't.
I mean, you're not going to cut it down to 1 to open a spot for a new show?
No, because that show doesn't... it's a risk that show would get ratings as good as Cowboy Bebop.
No, I think there's a few shows out there. I mean, if there was Inuyasha at the final act, they'd cut in a second.
Well, they still have to get through Inuyasha, the first act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only rerun show I think they're actually going to remove is Fullmetal Alchemist when it gets when it gets back to where it started on Toonami, or that's not going to happen. So they're going to cut when it ends again. Then I think they'll finally get rid of it.
Yeah, I think that would be the third airing, I believe.
Or they'll not. Just like, well, we're too attached to this.
Yeah.
I mean, they could.
It's possible. But, it's kind of hard to... The only thing I know for certain is as soon as GXP ends, there is going to be something new replacing it.
Oh, they're not going to keep around GXP.
No, it's like...
No. Unless they do, just because it was so cheap.
I don't think that's the case. Because, we haven't gotten to GXP yet, but...
Because GXP is kind of like this dead half an hour. And literally anything would be better than GXP.
Well, except for Eureka 7, because if we're talking about ratings, GXP actually outdraws Eureka 7.
I guess there is that kind of creepy subset who likes that.
Well, see, that's the thing I never understood. And later it made sense that, Eureka 7 is getting a new series. I thought, give us a break here. You air this for us, and we'll be good to you later on with some other. That's why I thought it was on. Because initially I did not get why they started re-airing that series when it did not do that well the first time. And it's hello handshake agreement with the company. Okay, that makes sense. You don't re-air it. What's GXP's excuse?
It was dirt fucking cheap.
Literally
any ratings it pulled in would have pulled a profit.
There's some examples. You go out, you want to buy some shoes. You see, you can't afford the $199 shoes, but you see these shoes. They got little scuff marks on the side. Lace a little bit torn. They're $10 shoes. It's dirt cheap. Are you gonna buy that?
They keep the bottoms of your feet by being stabbed by rocks.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
the soles are good. The soles are good.
GXP keeps your feet from being stabbed.
Yes. Okay, yeah, I'll buy that. And it does get better later on. It just took so freaking long for it to happen that I had checked out by then. But it does get much better.
I've already checked out. I won't be watching it ever.
You're not.
Ever.
I think I'll try checking in because I know as much hate as I put on the show, I did not. I gave it 8 episodes, and I checked out after the 4th one. But
I mean, if it had kept going like it did in the first 2, where it's kind of like this comedy where he gets hurt a lot.
Sucks to suck, hey.
Yeah, Eureka 7, yeah, that's a show I will never like. And I stuck with it for about 3/4 of its broadcast until I just got fed up with it.
Is it like this problem where, like, people are like, well, I love how the characters develop later on, but you're like, they develop too late?
Yes.
It's part of that. It's like... Well, I mean,
when does Holland stop being terrible?
He gets kind of better starting like now, but I tweeted last night. One of my problems is, okay, Holland is just a shitty father figure, and he just killed Renton's good father figure.
Kind of good. He had a huge fatal flaw, though.
Yeah, but remember, we're talking relativity here. Compared to Holland, who, I'm not forgetting this, he physically beat Renton, and that's not even including all the mental scarring he did. It's like, it's like Holland is just, and we haven't even gotten to the reason why he did all this. And that's one of the fundamental problems with Eureka 7 is all that stuff's there, but it takes so long to explain.
We're just gonna. They set up so that the entire series so far has been set up.
Yeah. And I'm like, and you might not like all what they're setting up. It's like I'm hesitating to state the reason why Holland was so rough on Renton. Because it hasn't been revealed yet, and we're halfway through the series.
Oh, we're only halfway.
Yeah.
Do we think they're going to replace Eureka 7 with at least Astral Ocean? Because Eureka 7 is so long that they can't really air it again.
Wasn't it 51 episodes?
Yeah, it's 51, 52.
It's like no, it can't be that long because that would be a year.
Oh, so it's not 50. I always thought it was as long as Full Metal Alchemist for some reason.
Well, it's ending in like July.
Let me look this up.
Let's see this.
So it's like 40 something.
Episode run 50.
Oh my God! It's 2 weeks less than a year.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're gonna air it again because they're stuck. Then they're stuck with a stuck slot for another year.
No, there's no way that they're running this again because, well, not only because of the whole how long this thing takes, it's because this is a Bandai Entertainment anime, and last I checked, Bandai Entertainment, their anime division doesn't exist anymore. You know, they closed up shop, and you know, from what I got from like DeMarco and the execs, you know. It was kind of a minor miracle that they got Eureka 7 when they did.
Really? I always thought it was one of those deals. You give us this and you put this back in the air, we'll give you a show later. I had totally blanked out on the whole Bandai situation.
Yeah, it's really puzzling why they did this because, yeah, you would think that this is going to lead to Astral Ocean, but, you know, anything that comes from Bandai these days is going to have to come from Bandai Japan, and I have not heard good things about people who deal with Bandai Japan. You know, maybe be a little easier than dealing with anything Gundam, but still.
But you know what happened is that as soon as Saban came back and they feel that everything goes through Saban now. And they don't go through Bandai Visual. Bandai Visual came at the time when 4Kids was making so much money with Pokemon that everybody got to get into it.
And don't forget Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. And then when the money didn't run out and there was only a certain amount of shows that succeeded and didn't succeed, then when 4Kids had everything and then they messed up on One Piece and everybody got split up, then came Crunchyroll when they started pirating, and then Bandai said, we ain't gonna deal with this anymore. Now Saban comes back and said, we only gonna deal with Saban now because he's the only one that can talk the same language as us. So, you know, I'm like, see, Bandai gonna do what Bandai gonna do.
Basically.
You want to deal with Bandai Japan, you can deal with Bandai Japan. Your name has to be Haim Saban. I'm real, dog.
So,
you got to be that man with the $3 billion plan, boy.
And I should note that
truth.
That apparently the contract came with, you know, you must air Ben 10 toy figurine commercials.
That's true. That's true.
10 o'clock, Ben 10 time.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
It's
like
Ben 10 o'clock. Oh, what time? Oh, just look at the time. Ben 10.
Yeah, it's like clockwork every week during Eureka 7.
It's almost as predictable as back when they were airing the same two Hot Pockets commercials every commercial break.
Well, Hot Pockets and Adult Swim is synonymous.
Hot Pocket, because everybody who's watching Adult Swim is eating a Hot Pocket. Cold Hot Pockets, because they're too poor to afford a microwave.
This is the asinine BS. You know what I'm saying? The asinine BS these advertising agencies went for. I mean, I work part-time at an advertising agency. The things they say, it's like Greek to me. It's like Greek to me. It's like, you know, when they talk about, oh, we're going to do this little advertising thing and whatnot, I'm going like, what is this nonsense?
Like, give us some specific examples, because these sound funny. Okay?
drop?
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
Did he drop?
He's still there. I still see him on my
I'm
screen.
here. I'm
Oh, okay.
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was weird. That's kind of like everyone's like, Okay, Full Metal Alchemist time.
Actually, well, we should talk about GXP.
Do we have to?
Did anything happen at all?
We're boobs.
If you're a fan of Cabot, this was your episode.
Did Bad Luck Brian put his dick into anything at all? I don't even care what it was. Did he do anything?
I'm like, he made friends with the plush toy.
So there's what? There's so he has a lolly furry in his harem now.
No, the lolly was the priestess. This is more the furry. Mind you, this is something the original OAV series did. For no reason, they turned this Cabot thing into some sort of human thing, and they reminded us of that through the flashbacks. It's like, hi, Washu, nice of you to cameo and remind us of this terrible, terrible idea.
So we're still firmly in the middle of Brian does nothing but get more girls for his harem for no reason.
Yeah, that's basically the sum of things.
Nothing has happened?
Well, okay, the response from the thread was, this episode was just boring. And that was a step up.
That kind of not like the response from the thread when we had, you can't touch this. And everyone posted, you can't touch this, in like a series of 25 posts. 25 posts. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
So basically, people just could be, drinking, taking a shot when something happens, and nothing worth of notice happening in the show. Is that what I'm getting for this episode?
Yeah. It's this episode was all about that that plush toy, and
well, that's all that really needs to be said.
And from what I understand, next week Tenchi finally shows up,
or not,
for a cameo. Or
he does. Well, I'm watching. That's all I came here for.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? I never thought I'd say this, but Kenshi, you're too good for this.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is even worse than Tenchi in Tokyo.
And Tenchi in Tokyo was pretty damn bad.
I would watch King Bradley in Tokyo.
I'm just laughing for no reason. I don't know why. It was so bad.
Yeah, this show, it's like, okay, I get why they brought it to the Toonami, because it's another legacy thing. It's, oh, hey, Tenchi was really popular in the day. Let's get this show that we never aired.
Also, it's $5.
Yeah,
They went to the dollar store.
I was trying to figure out why they never aired this back in, say, 2002.
Now you know.
Yeah, it's like, jeez.
But at least then you could have rode a lot of the popularity of the previous Tenchi shows, and you could have gotten people to watch. I don't question the acquisition per se. I just question why they got it 10 years too late.
True.
I can't answer that, because I'm like, oh, okay, the quality hasn't gone up anything. If anything, it's even worse, because Tenchi Muyo GXP kind of stands alone, because, it's like, how many people remember the original Tenchi series from the 90s?
I mean, I've said it in the thread, if you're going to go that route, you wanted to show a show kind of like this, why don't you air the better version of the show and just show Vendread?
Yeah, or shit, if we have to go from that time period, air its sister series, El Hazard.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I don't know why they did that, but hey.
Yeah. It's like, well, they gambled and they lost, because, Tenchi GXP is a abject failure.
I mean, they had it at, what, at 1 o'clock?
It's a failure as a... It was the third show in the lineup, and they had to move it back because it killed the entire rest of the block.
Yeah.
It's a failure as a show, and it failed in the ratings.
Yeah. You know, and I noticed that nobody got too teared up when it moved to 3 o'clock. I mean, okay.
And not a single fuck was given.
Except for the people who write TV trope pages.
Yeah.
GXP actually appeared in the Screwed by the Network entry for like Cartoon Network or Toonami. I'm like, okay.
Well, TV tropes is kind of this place where you gotta accept that no negativity is allowed.
Right.
I suppose so.
Right.
So, I suppose now we should talk about Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes, now we get into the repeat block.
Yeah.
My name is Wrath the Furious, and you are my bitch.
Yes, I remember on Adult Swim a lot of people, because you had the crowd comparing both versions of the show, Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood, and this is one of those episodes where it's very close to how Wrath and, well, not Wrath, but Greed appeared in the original series, and then it quickly deviates with the appearance of Wrath, and once Wrath came up, almost every single person on the board was like, "Oh, this shit is much better. Oh, this is good. We want more of this."
It's like literally, hello, my name is King Bradley.
Oh.
Goodbye.
Ultimate nothing. Ultimate Shield, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I do prefer Wrath Bradley to Pride Bradley.
Because Wrath Bradley is just an ungodly badass.
Yeah. Plus, he's not a complete monster like Pride Bradley was, because his kid in the first series wasn't a homunculus. That was an actual kid.
His kid in the first series wasn't an actual Eldritch abomination.
Yes. And Pride Bradley ends up killing him.
Yeah.
Yep, Wrath killed Pride. No, wait, Pride killed Wrath.
Wait, is it?
No, Pride killed Selim Bradley. That's kind of a it's kind of a mindfuck now.
Damn.
Oof. You gotta think about that for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, if you're a fan of the original manga, you can stop fuming now.
Spoilers all around.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I've seen people who read the manga in the thread complaining about how much butchering's been going on with the Greed arc, because Brotherhood was caught in an awkward position. They're still in the part where the first series covered, but they got to power through that.
Nobody came to watch the stuff they already saw.
Yeah, but it's also, in doing so, they kind of mangled some stuff that I think one of the Elric brothers was down south while the Greed arc was going on, for example. At least that's what I saw in the complaints. Now, it's like, I have not read the manga yet. I should do that. But now we're getting back to Convergence. Now.
Like, when Ling shows up, that's it. You've gone completely away from the original series.
Yeah, because this was the last episode.
You're now back to 100% manga.
Right. In fact, they kind of like reboot the ending. They do this little ending which says, okay, now we're doing this stuff. Now we're going to go into the next stuff. And, that was nice for that episode. I do think that people who haven't seen it, I don't know if they still exist, I think they'll definitely like the second part, which is, what is it, Envoy of the East, I believe, is next week.
Something like that. It has been a while.
Let me double check that.
Like we got yeah. Like
Yeah.
I suppose one last thing before we go, because I don't have a lot of time left, and I don't know if anyone really feels like discussing Bebop and Inuyasha.
Well, we could at least discuss Inuyasha a bit. I mean, Bebop. What more can you say about it? You know, it's like it's one of the all-time legends of anime.
It's
cartoon-
more than anime. It's Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, but it's also. I'm sick to death of watching it.
And watching it twice, that's too much.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, well, it's an old classic. Well, make new classics.
True. Yeah, I've seen Cowboy Bebop looped like twice since the time Toonami came back on, and it was nice to see Cowboy Bebop again. But I'm like, I'm done with it again. It's like at least bringing back Ghost in the Shell. I haven't seen that one in a while.
Well, that's starting to get rerun a lot also.
Yeah.
And both versions, the first one and the second. But I think the last one they showed was the second. I'm not 100% sure on that.
It was kind of going through the first one again, and then it got pulled off when they moved to 6, when I think Inuyasha came back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what point is Inuyasha at right now?
We're nearing the first real big showdown between Inuyasha and his posse and Naraku. I think the last one covered Sango being drawn into this web of trolling.
Okay. So we're still we're still in the time when Sango mattered.
Yeah.
Boy, that was brief.
Oh, still pretty early on. I think let me see, episode 30 is the last episode they showed, and that's really when they start the showdown at the castle.
True.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like Inuyasha. Well, is a very typical shonen show, and I liked it all right back in the day, but I never celebrated it. Not to mention that this series got very fucking frustrating when Naraku just refused to die.
Well, because he is the man who never sullies his hands. He always has a incarnation of himself, or he has one of his minions, which seem to number in the 100. I mean, not literally, but it seems like you thought you killed him? Nah, that was a minion. Oh, yeah. Now you killed him. Nah, that's someone dressed up as him.
Yeah, it's like I think I stopped watching Inuyasha around the time of the Band of Seven arc, or when they introduced Saint Hakujin.
Oh yeah, that was.
That's when it was. That's when it was getting really bad.
Yeah, but, I mean, it made them. They promoted that to. They made a lot of promos for that. It got a lot of ratings. And it's one of the few shows that can survive the 11 o'clock hour, which is why I thought they might try Inuyasha there again.
Well, not these days. Inuyasha is too old and too reran to be at 11. But
it's one thing. Mofos on Adult Swim love Inuyasha. I think it could. I mean, it was airing in 11 in the last run, and then before they got moved back a little bit, I think at 12. I mean, it's never failed at any time slot.
Yeah, Inuyasha, I think is the second most successful Adult Swim action series after Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah,
it's why it's been a staple of the broadcast since 2002. It's like not a lot of shows have that distinction. It's like the only other ones were like The Big O season 2, and that's only because they owned it. FLCL because if there was ever a show that they had a raging boner over, it was FLCL. I'm not saying it's a bad show or anything. It's just it's 6 episodes.
Yeah.
How many times can we see the same 6 episodes? It's Cowboy Bebop, but even faster. I think that's why FLCL hasn't returned since Toonami started. But I guess the final question to ask here is, aside from One Piece, what else would fit well on Toonami?
Batman.
Yeah.
I think all the Batman stuff is
The hub.
The hub.
Yeah, they're on the hub now.
The fucking hub.
Yeah.
What about who has Teen Titans?
That's Boomerang.
Isn't Boomerang the same thing as Cartoon Network?
From what I understand, if stuff is airing on Boomerang, they can't air it on Toonami. That's a big reason why we got Thundercats and Symbionic Titan.
So they can't. So why can't they just take stuff off of Boomerang and air it on Toonami?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah, it's like
there. I think a lot of other good shows they could have done that with. They haven't done it for the platform.
Yeah, it's like, well, if we're talking about Western shows, I wouldn't be surprised if Young Justice or Green Lantern end up on Toonami.
The problem with Western shows is they have a different season structure.
Right, but
they have a lot more episodes.
I don't know if I think Young Justice has a chance on Toonami. I don't think Green Lantern does. I think Green Lantern has I think they screwed it up. I think the series had a lot of promise, but towards the end, but I don't think it's a good fit for Toonami. Green Lantern, Young Justice, yes. Young Justice, yes, but not Green Lantern, no.
I think at this point, really, we're gonna have all anime acquisitions all the time, unless it's a Cartoon Network owned show.
Yeah, unless something changes. I mean, I'm big on getting animation anywhere you get it, but right now, there's a lot of anime you can get.
I think that we were talking about that poll. We're talking about that one poll.
I think it's unfortunate that the only thing they can get is anime at this time, because there are a lot of shows, especially Wafu from Akama in France they could get. They can get a couple from Italy. They have a couple coming from there's some out there in Europe that they're pretty good, but the unfortunate thing is, and there's some in the United States they could get. They could get Motor City. That is still up in the air, but we're not sure if Disney's going to let that go, and we're not sure the dealings between what is its name? I think they're still in good terms. Who does Motor City? The same people who do
it's Chris Pyrowski and George Kursik.
The same with company of Titmouse. I wonder if Titmouse is still doing is still in good terms with Cartoon Network. Because if Disney lets go of Motor City, I want them to have that though. There's a couple of older American shows they can get, but we're not sure about who got the rights and who don't got the rights, and we're not sure how much money they will even want to get these particular rights though. And we're not even sure if they're even willing to give up the rights to the show to air it on Toonami. So there's gonna be more acquisitions that they own. I do know one thing they do own though. For the Japanese subsidiary, they can get JoJo's a Bizarre Adventure.
Oh,
they own
really?
Lock, Stock, and Barrel.
Really? I did not.
Yes, they do. Time Warner Japan, Warner Brothers Pictures Japan owns the series Lock, Stock, and Barrel. They just gave it to David Production. It's there on the press release. They own a Lock, Stock, and Barrel.
That's interesting, but let's be honest. The thing that's holding JoJo's Bizarre Adventure back from ever reaching our shores is all the music references.
It's in the Earthbound carrot thing where it's got one copyrighted thing, and they can't do it anymore because now it's like, who the fuck has the rights?
It's not so bad in, say, where it is now, doing part 1 and part 2, but once we start hitting part 3 and onward, once we hit Stan territory, oh god, such a legal landmine.
They can do it. I'm sure it's possible to do it, but they won't.
Well, yeah, like I know was it Viz who put out the Starlight Crusaders manga here?
Yeah.
Or, they had some troubles over some of the references. I think in particular, like Vanilla Ice. And that's just the start of it as far as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is concerned.
I think the next anime they're gonna get is gonna be something like Fate Zero, or Fairy Tail, or Tiger and Bunny.
Yeah,
I don't want them to get Fairy Tail, but I have to admit that Fairy Tail would make a lot.
Out of all the shows they can get, I think Fairy Tail's the one they're going to get, even though it is becoming a little more adult right now with their OVAs, with their original videos coming out. But I think Fairy Tail's the one they could get. They could get a Hunter versus Hunter both series. The one that they did back in the day and now, I think they can get that one when it's ready.
Yeah.
I think
outside of that, it's pretty much JoJo and Psycho Pass. That's the big one. That's the crown jewel that's the crown jewel right now.
Psycho Pass
is the crown jewel because they said they wanted to get it into an international audience and remind people of Ghost of the Shell, and I think that's the main one they want to get. They want to bring in Toonami. It's made for Toonami. Looks like it. And it's written by the same people who did Madoka, which they want to bring into the United States as well. But I don't think that Madoka will ever come to the States until Sailor Moon, the new series of Sailor Moon comes back. And if they get a deal in the States, then a whole new start will begin with the Magic Girls and whatnot. Then they'll get Madoka, but not until then.
They have to kind of have Sailor Moon and be like, remember this stuff? It's okay to like it still. Now here's some new.
I have a feeling that somebody at Cartoon Network is sizing up the new Sailor Moon and the new Ghost in the Shell series. Legacy stuff, proven franchises, and all that stuff usually go down well with the executives. A dark horse pick for me would be Darker Than Black.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like, mind you, I really enjoyed season 1 of that. Season 2 can rot in hell.
Oh, here we go again. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Darker Than Black. I don't know.
4 minutes, guys.
All right.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Darker Than Black, I don't know, but that could be a dark horse.
You've got the action, you've got the violence per minute that the block needs. You've got enough of a story. You've got a pretty darn good story. And then I'm not going to mention and so everybody can make their own opinion about that, but I think that would fit very well.
Yeah. All right. So, are there any final thoughts on Toonami this week?
The hammer. Yeah. You can't touch this.
Well then.
Damn Skippy.
And we're pretty sure that G3's leader is Lance's dad.
Who else
could it be?
I reserve the right until Gandhi makes a new show, because I don't know if he's gonna be that obvious with that stuff.
Well, it's not like it's still a kid show, so I feel like the clues leading to that are acceptable for a kid show.
Yeah, and the last time I checked, Genny didn't write for the Thundercats, so he's not prone to WWE style swerves.
Oh man! So I was gonna bring that up. I wanted to see the big swerve.
Oh God! The end of Thundercats is basically, it was me all along, Austin.
Oh God!
I gotta catch that ending. I will catch that.
Yeah.
We will all catch that ending, and we will have like 5 pages in the thread of just that ending.
Oh, they don't know what they're in for.
They don't know what's coming. But on that note, that's it for this podcast.
All right.
Oh my God, we're gonna have. I don't know who we're gonna have on for the Thundercats finale episode.
I'll try to. If the recording time is this time, I'll try to make that show because I really want to talk about that.
The recording. Now that I can record, it's any time.
Yeah. So I'll make that show.
Okay. So that's it for this podcast. I'm 789 Shadow. Anybody else?
Oh,
This is the outro.
Yeah. Shard.
And of course, it's cutting out now. Of course.
Yep. See you guys later.
Take
All right.
care.
The hammer.